the future of Joe Biden and Olaf Scholz, the President of America and Germany. I'm going to predict their future. I have posted videos on this TikTok channel predicting the outcome of the Dutch elections, and I was right. And people know now that I can predict the future with the ability called prophetic and military foresight. So most people on this world are in the business of prophesying. That means this is what God said, or I had a dream from God. I'm not doing that. This is called an ability. So this video is made by the grace of God. Let me explain that to you. I have a destinical body given to me by birthright, meaning I got born and I have a destiny. I was born for war, okay? I know that you don't like that. I know that we're different. That's fine. But I was born for this. It's just a certain nature I have. Some people like to become an accountant, and some people are born for war. It's just the way it is. Some people fight, okay? Some people passive, some people aggressive, some people introvert, some people extrovert. A certain setup you get born with, and that's your birthright. So you can go and do your destiny. Birthright. Your destinical body. Aether body, light body. And when you're cursed, there are defects. And when you're blessed, there are no defects. So when I come online on this TikTok channel, I'm simply using my birthright to speak with you. And I have a certain skill set to win the wars. And one of them is called predicting the steps of your enemies, called military foresight. And because I'm inclined with the spiritual, I also can do the prophetic. So this is my birthright. So when I say this video is under the grace of God, that means that it is the Spirit of God who appeared before me and is, let's say, squeezing it. Let me try. That's not what happens, but I have to use a grammatical term to make you understand what is happening. This is not my natural thing. This is not how I work. This is not what I do. This is not how I would naturally come online and go like, hey guys, let's talk about this today. No, this is divine inspired. This is providence, is what people call that down here on the earth. So it is my birthright, but it is God's Spirit who pressed the buttons whereby I became to see something, whereby I'm able to do what I'm doing. And of course, every demonic force from hell will, of course, come at me and disturb this thing. Because I'm going to do what? I am going to predict the future of the United States and the future of Germany. This is Netherlands, province, Noord-Brabant. Holy Roman Empire, Dukedom Noord-Brabant. I am its Grand Master. Orange Sun Grand Meester is the standard. So, the Geert Wilders won the elections. I predicted that. That means the birthright of the Dutch is ending. You have to understand this part. So I'm going to predict the future of America and of Germany by using the Dutch standard, whereby you can see your nation's future. You can project this over any Western nation, by the way. So here in Netherlands, the birthright is running out, whereby the position Grand Master of the Netherlands is open, and I am fulfilling that position, Grand Master of Netherlands. And my first act of Grand Master of Netherlands, under the influence of the Spirit of God, is going to tell you the future of America and Germany. And I understand that you have different thoughts and different views and different religious beliefs. And that's all fine with me if you want to know the future of the United States and the future of Germany by someone who can prove I have evidence of speaking the future of the Dutch destiny, and it is proven. If you want to have facts, you can stay in your delulu all you want. If you want to know the truth, this is for you. This is the reasoning. This is the spiritual algebra that you need to understand to see when the time of Joe Biden ends. To see when the time of Olaf Scholz ends. So what is the difference between right and wrong? Olaf Scholz say this is right. Joe Biden say this is right. So who decides what is right in a nation? Well, that's called the political power. So you will go to the voting box, and the parliament consists of your votes, and then the head of the state, whoever is commanding that system, It's a representation of what is the democratic right and the democratic wrong. So something can be right, but the democracy says this is right. And that's actually wrong. And then when you see that wrong, morally speaking, you can start to condemn that wrong, but then you're anti-democratically. You're morally correct, but who are you to override democracy? This is a very difficult matter. Let's begin off with the prediction of the German and American future by explaining you the first fundament of understanding of the algebra to understand the future of the American and the German, the ones that are leading the timeline. That's what that's called. So, America says this is good. And religion says what America says is bad. But America is some kind of a form of a democracy. There's a voting system whereby what is right is the majority will of the people. The will of the people. The will of the people is right. Of course it's not right. The will of God is right. What's in the Bible is right. But nobody's voting for that. Here comes the difficult issue. So the American people use their birthright to create the American dream, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it is. I'm being fanatical for you today. American people vote, and whatever they vote, the political timeline of the United States, your vote creates the American dream and the American normality, and that creates a spiritual social credit score. That means this is good, this is bad. So when America votes in all the evil things and all the people with birthright in the United States, let me explain you birthright. Somebody founded the United States, and that person had children, and that person had children. So they have rights to whatever. And then those children did all these things, and some of them went bad, some of them were good. So they got blessed more, and then they got more birthright in the United States destiny. That's called the progression of the bloodline, seen in the Old Testament. King David was a man of God, and King David had a son, and God was in favor of his son because it was King David's son. Got carte blanche. That's how that works, birthright. So it sometimes goes wrong, and then a new king comes. It changes all the time. It's called birthright. But there is something called the American birthright on this earth, called the American Federation. I tell you the truth. What is dominating the earth? Hollywood, American army, right? American birthright, the destiny of America on the world. I'm battling forces here, ladies and gentlemen. This is not your average thing to do here in North Brabant, Netherlands, okay? Doing the geopolitical future prediction. But anyway, under the grace of God, that means I will complete the mission. You will stay here and listen to what I have to say, and you will be enlightened with the future understanding. This will give you hope, okay? I just know it because it's the Spirit of God Almighty who is letting me know that this will give you hope. I'm speaking hope into you. God wants you to have hope. I know that because high level, right? Watch this. So the birthright gives you the right to start going into a Delulu. So when America go in a Delulu, Woko Loco, you know what I'm saying? When America go on the Kool-Aid, when everyone go fucking insane in the United States, well, guess what? You are fucking voting right. And you can vote in every fucking bullshit you want to vote in. And I'm using the word fucking bullshit because it is fucking bullshit. What America vote is fucking bullshit. My opinion, I can have the right to that opinion. So don't hate me for having an opinion. That's pretty radical if you hate someone for his opinion, okay? So this birthright, ladies and gentlemen, if you keep doing the wrong thing, you keep doing the wrong thing, and you keep doing the wrong thing, so you can choose to go into the Delulu, and then it become good to be in a Delulu in the United States, and then you keep doing the Delulu, and at one point your birthright dies. You have free will from God to choose between good and evil, and at one point it's over. You cannot choose anymore. Birthright over. Next generation. So that's what's going to happen, and this is what happened in the Netherlands. So when Geert Wilders rose to victory, all of a sudden in the Netherlands, the dream of Netherlands, sovereign destiny Netherlands, the social credit course changed. Social credit course. Now, if you are doing something against the democracy, you are radical. So there's a change, and people are afraid for this change. So the Netherlands is under the judgment of God. So this is part 1 of the video. I'm going to continue this Grand Mastery, helping you see the future, in part 2. This is part 2 of the future of Joe Biden and Olaf Scholz and the American and German destiny. And you can use this blueprint that I'm putting online in these videos about the future of Joe Biden and Olaf Scholz over every Western nation. Only Western nations. So ladies and gentlemen, let's continue part 2. If you are tuning in part 2 and you haven't seen part 1, swipe away, press away, go back to part 1. This is a progressive teaching on how to predict the future of America and Germany using the ability military and prophetic foresight. Those are abilities that I'm going to display live on video, and you will see me do it, and I'll help you understand how I do it, whereby you can get hope, ladies and gentlemen. So I explained that birthright gives you the right to the voting system, and the United States birthright or the German birthright is reflected in the voting system, and whatever goes into the voting system, that's the political wheel. It's spinning. That's called the destinical wheel. And the percentage of this wheel defines what the national spiritual social credit score is. The difference between good and right. So when the Bible says that this is wrong, but the democracy says that it is right, then if you take a Bible and go against the democracy, then you're a radical. You're good, but who are you to command the people? Are you the emperor or the king or whatever? As long as, or a prophet, you know what I mean? That God choose you as a prophet. That's the issue that you will create if you start going against the national normality. Most people will simply call you narcissistic or arrogant or delusional. Who are you to tell us what is right? Or radical, and so on and so on. So this is the issue. People have birthright, and this birthright translates in voting right, and they vote, and the political wheel spins, creates a normality based upon this birthright. So when a nation becomes evil, like America and Germany, then all of a sudden evil votes, and people go in a trance. So Germany and America go in the state of trance. People call that here on TikTok culture the state of Delulu. Every time more Delulus. And Delulu's winning, and all the Delulu people go like woohoo loco, woohoo, and they go all crazy. And all the sane people are watching it go like, whoa, this is getting out of hand. And then these woko locos go like, oh, they are the radicals. The radicals, oh, Delulu, right? So it becomes really weird. America became a really weird country. Germany became a really weird country. It's no longer normal. It's no longer a civilization. So this is a thing with birthright. America and Germany and the West became the underworld. It's an underworld empire here in the West, and it's a democracy, so we're living in the underworld. So Netherlands, because everyone here wanted to live in the underworld, everyone voted for the underworld, dark energy, satanic Illuminati type of dark energies, the Lulu energy, everyone voted in everything that is wrong. So the Dutch people, the energy ran out, and everyone else who didn't participate in the you know what I'm saying? They're also nonsense people. Don't get me wrong. Those people are favor-based, ethnically oriented, tribalist, and hypocrites. So you have to understand this thing. These Dutch people who won the elections, they're not justice-based. They will give favors to their children. If you're justice-based, you will not give favors to your children because they're your children. Because that's just not right. Because then you're teaching your child this elitarian arrogance. And all of a sudden your child will be like, you can't correct me. You become an incorrectable child. So people will try to protect their own children and are less sensitive to no justice state. So these Dutch people who entered power are justice favor-based, that's what that's called. And they're very tribalist and ethnically oriented, and they're probably also hypocrites. So what's wrong with the Dutch people who rose to power is called 7 deadly sins. Pride, vanity, vainglory. I am the choice of the people. Ooh, vainglorying, acting like that's something. No, when you're chosen by God, that's something. When you're chosen by the people, it's something. It's like some men, they have a lot of money, and then they start buying expensive watches and cars to drive around the streets and let everyone know that they're higher social rank. Or you got some women that are very beautiful and they just let everyone else know, I'm more beautiful than you. Vainglory. Those type of energies. All right? So hold this thought. Remember this. So the Dutch losers, those that lost the elections, are on this woko loco dream. And the winners of the Dutch elections are on this favor-based, ethically oriented, tribalistic, hypocrite type of system. So they're better because they're not property of underworld. It's really that simple. But there was a satanic age in Netherlands. Satanic age in Netherlands. This is Netherlands. I'm Grand Master of Netherlands. Satanic age of Netherlands. This is how we talk here. This is how we're going to talk here. Listen carefully. So a lot of people went through the satanic age of Netherlands and they got tempted by the satanic age, and sometimes they touched it because nobody's policing you, moral police. So some of them touched some stuff, became hypocrites, became the sounds nice, racism, tribalism, ethnically oriented, favor-based, not a justice state. Yeah, let's bribe and stuff, sounds nice. So all these people who didn't lose their soul yet, people that are not woke, they sometimes touch it and tainted their soul, whereby they're not looking clean. Do you hear me? Does Geert Wilders, does that look clean to you? So you have to understand, the fact that you're not a member of the underworld doesn't necessarily make you a holy man. Let me try to really push this in your little peanut brains. Just the fact that you're not living in the underworld doesn't necessarily make you a holy man. Just because you're not a devil doesn't mean you're a saint. It's like a whole gradation of levels of civilization. So the Dutch went out of the satanic age, and those who survived the satanic age, well, look at them, the winners of the Dutch elections. You would write books about them or something, you know. And let's jump to Donald Trump. You wouldn't write books about that. Same issue. That's why I'm jumping the bridge. All these people in the West our Netherlands out of the satanic age, and now America and Germany are next to go out of this age. This is the prophetic part, prophetic foresight. So at one point, the American and German favor-based, ethnically oriented, tribalistic hypocrites who commit these 7 deadly sins. So what does that mean? Arrogance inside of them, not humility, no respect. No arrogant souls or people vainglorious. I'm a Bible believer. I'm better than everyone. Arrogance. You know what I mean? So I forgot under the grace of God. So I'm again, doing religious etiquette teachings. Okay, it's just the way it is, so that you fully understand the future. So the ones that are being subdued by the underworld came for them for a reason. Right, so we have this hypocritical Christianity, nationalism, all these expressions that like. The underworld looks at these so-called people. I don't know how to define these people. How do you define these people? The people that won the elections in Netherlands. How do you define that? I don't define. Let's call them hypocrites. I'll define them as hypocrites. So imagine that the Trump hypocrites. And whoever is in Germany that's suppressed by the underworld, it's because you're hypocrites. Hypocrites attract demons. So the Trump movement and the Wilders movement and whatever movement in Germany going on, it's like you're too much of a hypocrite, and that's how you attracted the satanic age. And I'm telling you about the time where the satanic age is going to end. And then many people are going to come out of that, and you're going to be called radical, you're going to be called all kinds of things. That's part 3. I'm going to talk about the reality of when Germany and when America come out of that satanic age. So in part 1 and part 2, I explained to you the bad side and the good side, and that the bad side is the great majority of the United States and Germany, and they have a worldview of ideology in the sense that, like, what people call a hedonistic society. So your ancestors built the nation, Germany and America and whatever Western nation, whereby you have voting right to define where the destiny of your country is going. And most people choose for a hedonistic society And some people wanted to create a normal society. They want to stay in the normal way of cultural operating of a nation. Only the quote-unquote bad guys won. The satanic age here in the West is a majority thing called democracy. So the good guys, as explained in part 2, are not really the good guys. They're the okay, questionable guys. Some of them better than the other. So the okay, questionable guys here in Netherlands rose to power, and the Dutch social credit score system changed. What does that mean? In the old Netherlands, these set of social structures were defined as good. And everyone who refused to obey that was crazy, radical, blah, 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 blah. Ostracized, abnormal, right? So now the social credit system changed in the Netherlands because of this Dutch political wheel that changed. A new establishment, the old establishment spiritually bankrupt. The wicked people who called the other side, there's a battle between right and good. Who defines what is good? So the normal, okay people, full of hypocrisy, their demons rose to power in government. And if I talk like this in another nation, the Netherlands, the local social credit score system will trigger, and this information will be seen as unfavorable. In America, this will be seen as unfavorable because the political elite and the people of the United States are not yet where the Dutch destiny is. And the same counts for the German. So those in the underground of Germany and in the underground of the United Nations, to them this is going to sound morally just, higher justice. To those that are still in power in the United States and Germany, this is going to sound like radicalism, extreme radicalism. Here in Netherlands, this is no longer extreme radicalism. So I used 2 videos of 10 minutes to try to explain to you the fabrics of matrix social credit score that is defined by the political will. Every sovereign nation has such a will, and the votes of the people define how that will consists, and that will be the dictative normality in the dream, the national destiny of a kind. American dream, German dream, Dutch dream, the kind. And every dream is different. So this is again a summary of the past 2 to build upon the third one. The third part of this military and prophetic foresight ability demonstration in the future of Joe Biden and Olaf Scholz. So there comes a point that the Delulu people of United States and Germany spiritually bankrupt, and then their enemies, the ones that they call radical and crazy, are not yet bankrupt. Okay, that's quicksand, to give you an idea. So imagine the United States destiny, all these people, you have the quote-unquote Trump radicals, according to the social credit score of the United States. Everyone who calls Trump a radical is like on quicksand, and at one point, poof, you disappear, just like Netherlands. When the day comes that you disappear, you're under divine judgment. What does that mean? Your birthright ran out. So there is a blueprint about birthright running out. It's called Doctor Strange, the first film. Forget about the other ones. It's kind of a little bit of a spiritual blueprint. This is spiritually defaulting. So there's going to come a point where your luck is going to run out. When your destiny is going to be brought to a halt, called divine punishment. Okay? So the Delulu people of Germany and America are going to hit the spiritual wall, spiritually default, and then what's going to happen when these points, the government is going to resign. The moment the German destiny and the moment the American destiny, when the government resigns and calls for new elections, that is the point in the American and German destiny when this birthright ended. So you see Argentine, there is a quote-unquote man in Argentina who became president, who's starting to say, the left, the left, the left, don't negotiate. It's like really heavy stuff, people. So when I saw that man winning, I came online and made a video about, you know, I understand it feels real to you, this war. But if you are born for war like me, you're not going to have this, the left, this energy. Do you know what I mean? You got to calm down. You got to remember what representing a nation is. So people who just came out of the satanic age, as explained in the second part of this Biden and Scholz prophetic and military foresight video, people who just defeated the devil are going to be like, the radicals are super dangerous. And I'm not trying to mock the entire nation of Argentine, but I am using the nation of Argentine. I am doing that, and maybe that's disrespectful, not intentionally. I hope you don't take it personal. But this is a bigger war than just Argentina or America or Germany or Netherlands. This is a global war, as how this president of Argentina says. This is a global war. There's a new world order. There's a certain Luciferian cabal, right? So the people who make the wrong choice, the real radical. So it's like two parties calling each other radical. It's something. So in Argentina, the energy ran out, and then the political figures rose to power, and they are this favor-based, ethnically oriented, tribalistic, hypocritical, 7 deadly sins committing type of figures, like President of Argentina, or soon to be Prime Minister, if everything goes right according to the voting system. The voting system says guilt world is won. This is the same type of figure. Donald Trump is the same type of figure. They call this man the Dutch Donald Trump. It's kind of weird that people use these terms. It's just the way how it is. This is how humanity works. So there is a certain type of, this side wants this side wants that. And they both have a certain attitude. It's global, this thing. So you can... So I'm just making a point. The moment the energy of the Satanists, that's what we call them, in the United States runs out, the government will collapse, it will go out of order, and then come a new election. And when that new government come into existence, that's when it starts. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the day the satanic age ended in your nation. Let me do this thing again. So Joe Biden and Olaf Scholz are going to lead the Germans and the Americans into this Delulu type of normality of theirs. They can do that because of the birthright, and at one point that birthright ends, whereby all of a sudden shit's not working anymore. Okay, government collapse. And then a procedure will start where people who still have birthright, but they're pretty, you know, the hypocrites. It's better to be, is it, I don't know, a hypocrite or a Satanist? It's both quite a negative. So when the satanic age of America ends and the satanic age of Germany ends, what will come out of that is not going to get the beauty prize. Not going to get the beauty prize, I assure you that. So when the replacement of the establishment of America and Germany shows up, whatever energy they have left, that's going to establish a new government, and the old government will still have minimal amounts of energies to manipulate a little bit. Just how you see Dutch government manipulation. If you're intelligent, you see the manipulation going on. So the moment the energy of the nation runs out, the government will collapse. There will be hell, and that's the beginning of the end. And then a new government will be elected, and when that government is elected as the winner, we won the elections. That day, the new social credit score system is enforced. That's when the satanic age ends. So this part 3, I'm going to continue part 4, telling you how dangerous it is to win the elections. It is dangerous to win the elections. I assure you that. This is part 4 of the military and prophetic foresight video as Grand Master of the Netherlands, helping you see the future of the American and German destiny. And last minute, while I'm producing this, I receive a prophetic word about Le Pen in France, that this individual in French politics is going to win the elections in the future. This part is not in coherence with what I was planning to do here, which is to present the American and German destiny. This is like something, okay, I'm producing it and there it came. And this is like prophecy. This is not military foresight or prophetic foresight. I didn't pay attention to France. This is like a prophecy that I'm speaking, that was given to me. That's it. So now I'm going to continue back to the original story. How dangerous is it to win the election? I assure you this. Are you sure you want to hear what I have to say? It's part 4. Okay, so the equation, the spiritual algebra. You have one side of the people who is negative energy, manipulators, continually finding a manipulation, always energy vampire, always going into the victim mentality, unaccountable. No matter what you do, they're always the victim. They don't want to listen, they want to speak, they want to be rewarded for doing the wrong thing. They just keep taking and taking and taking. They're becoming crazier and crazier and crazier. Entitled. And it just keeps draining the system, right? That one. And then you have the other one, the normal person. Not spiritually bankrupt yet, but also not like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, those are the people. No. Everyone is human, so to say. There are always some errors people make, spiritual errors, universal law, okay? What do you want me to say? Holy Roman imperial standard. I understand that humanity, you're not gonna meet this standard. I get that. I'm not expecting that from you. But I am saying there's a division between the Woko Loco and the normal people. Okay? So the normal people have birthright and the Woko Locos have birthright, and when the Woko Loco birthright run out, the government ceases to exist. However that happens. And in Netherlands it happened when Mark Rutte put down the government and became what they call in Netherlands démissionnaire. So, however that happens in the United States or in Germany, I don't know, but something like that will happen. That's the beginning of the end. And then the energies, destinical birthright energies of these people who will make it, that will go into the political wheel, and that will change the social score system. And all of a sudden, what is wrong becomes right. And what is right becomes wrong. So let me tell you what that means. So in the Satanic age, abortion was okay. But when that Satanic age ends, all of a sudden you're a fucking murderer. A godless murderer. Without a fucking conscience, you're the scum of the earth. You're gonna burn in the fires of hell. Enemy of heaven. That's the new tone when this Delulu ends. So people do not get judged by God because, you know, that's what I've been told years ago. God does not reveal himself, because if he reveals himself, then you're gonna, of course, listen. You're of course gonna be like, yeah, let's walk, guys, and stuff. So God doesn't show himself so that he can see who you truly are, so he can measure your true colors, and then he shows himself like that, right? So there's an element of surprise, an element of you're not allowed to see it until you've been found wanting, or if you've been found worthy or unworthy. That process, and then you wake up to it, right? So a lot of people, when this birthright runs out, their Delulu will end and the hard reality will hit them. And then starts the judgment of the Almighty One upon the nation. The Netherlands is here. Argentina was a couple of days earlier there, ladies and gentlemen. And many more nations are going to follow in the judgment of the Almighty One timeline. And what happens then is that without birthright, you're going to scream all your Woko Loco, and the whole system is going to turn against you. You're going to be ostracized, you're going to be hated, you're going to be demonized, and all of a sudden you're no longer going to get what you want. Okay, maybe it's going to take me 5 parts, this video, to predict the future of America and Germany. Now let's add France to the equation, okay? Don't get me started. So there is a difference between Netherlands and America, and there's a difference between Netherlands and Germany, and there's a difference between Netherlands and France. So by divine inspiration, I'm going to add France to the equation. So you see that the Dutch government, the old one, sent humanitarian aid to Palestine. So you see that the Dutch do not really do anything against anti-Semitism in the traditional form. the anti-Semitism in the traditional form, like you hate a Jew. I know that an Arabian is a Semite too, but we don't use it that way. What we mean with anti-Semite, it just means Jew hatred. So when we have Jew hatred in the Netherlands, nothing happens. When there's Jew hatred in Germany, something happens. So when there is Jew hatred in France, oops, and what happened? This Macron was like, no, let's subject. So what happened in France is like in the Bible. The Jews said, give us Barabbas. So the French people were like, give us Palestine. And the guy go like, you could imagine like this magistrate and this judge in the Roman Empire in the Bible go like, okay, give these Jews what they want, right? So this Macron go like, okay, give these people what they want, right? And all of a sudden France became pro-Palestine, and America and Germany are not like that. So that and Netherlands is just like France. It's like, okay, let's send some aid to Palestine, right? So there is not an active anti-Israel agenda going on in the Netherlands, not active Jew hatred, but there is more sympathy for Palestine than there is sympathy for Israel. So in France it's worse. So I'm trying to show you another spiritual algebra. The United States timeline's karma, the German timeline's karma, the Dutch timeline's karma, and then the French. That's actively anti-Israel. They're in bed with Yellow Man. That's what it's called. With this guy from Russia. They're doing that Russia politics in the African lands. Okay, there's a take over the West type of. This is a whole other story. So I think I'm going to do this in five videos, because this. I tell you the truth. I was going to tell you how dangerous winning the elections is. This is real dangerous. I'm being for real with you. So they're like these gradation of positive karma and gradation of negative karma, and then you have America and Germany are sitting on something whereby they still go pro, right? So what am I doing here? Prophecy about what? America and Germany, right? Still the pro-Israel tune, even though I don't like none of these two, but they're still blessing the Jews, right? France not doing that, Netherlands not doing that, but this political elite is changing, whereby, okay, let's do it. Watch this. So, there is a spiritual attack. There's a certain phenomena which is called the jinn, jihadi jinn. I don't know if you understand what that is. Let's call it a demon. There is some kind of an aggressive military demon. Let's call it like that, which make you a savage. Officially, a savage is what they call that here in the West. So, what makes a person a savage? That's a jinn. That's in the spectrum of familiar spirits. You need some spiritual understanding to understand these terms. So there are jinns in the West, and these jinns, when they take over your nation, they will start screaming, "Death to Israel!" That's the terrorist energy. That's outside of the West, but inside of the West, it's like boycott Israel. So it's not the terrorist energy, but it is that radical energy. So it's not yet terrorist energy, but it's that radical energy. Let's boycott you all. You want to support genocide. That's that radical energy. That's a jinn. So in the West, there are all these jinns. Hate, not like hate the Jews. Don't kill the Jews, but hate the Jews. Boycott that energy. Right? So that energy is making the Netherlands scared and is subduing France. So the French gave in to the release Barabbas energy of the people. Okay, this is part number 4. Part number 5 of the military prophetic foresight ability demonstration over Joe Biden, over Olaf Scholz, and over Emmanuel Macron. So I am since 2 days Grand Master of Netherlands, and I'm going to push these 3 nations and their energies aside and tell you about their future, as if that is a little something you just do on a Saturday evening, entertaining yourself for fun. There you go. Do you want to know? Continue watching. The issue is that we're dealing with a reversed social credit score system. Good is bad, bad is good. The Lulu is good, And everything that, God forbid, everything heaven forbid, is nobody wants that. Everyone mocks that. Everyone pushes that away. That's unfavorable. So this is what people suffer. And people can do this, as explained in the other videos, because they got birthright. So now we're going to go into deeper, super complicated matters. Did you know that the Dutch have a colonial history? Let me show you something. So Argentine won, according to this frame of thinking, before the Dutch. Listen to me. What is the ethnicity of Geert Wilders? He is Indonesian. Not completely, but he got Indonesian bloodline going on. What did the Netherlands do to Indonesia? Where does my family come from? Suriname. So look at me, Grandmaster Netherlands, look at Wilders, elected. That is because of the Dutch colonial history. My ancestors were colonized by the Dutch, and Geert Wilders' ancestors were colonized also by the Dutch. So the Netherlands has colonial history, whereby there's a certain balance in the Dutch destiny, whereby certain types of individuals rise to the surface. Right? So for the Dutch collective to overcome the Satan, to go into the positive, to leave the satanic age, the Dutch people are battling colonial karma. I'm trying to show you the spiritual algebra. This is going to wake you up if you listen to me. You're going to see this thing really fast. So, Argentine is of course not a colonial empire. Right? So, I don't know what the history of Argentine is in that degree. Well, I do know. They housed the Nazis. I didn't want to go in here, but every nation has something which you can consider moral imperfections. This creates a generational account of negative and positive energies in the bloodlines of the collective. And that creates this political clock. So the satanic age of Argentine ended because they overcame that absolute negativity in the generational line. So whatever's going on in Argentine is the business of Argentine, but whatever goes on in Netherlands, that's my business. So here I know the clock is not positive because of the colonial history. Right? So now the clock is in the positive. It's not in the super positive. We in Netherlands don't look super bright. You know what I mean? We just came out of the satanic age as a collective. We're spitting out Satanism. I mean, how do you think that looks? Be reasonable. Look at the Dutch winners of the election. They just spat out Satanism. I'm being for real with you. What do you want me to say? Holy Roman Imperial Standard. I will keep speaking it. So, the United States of America, to hit that same point that we in the Netherlands hit here, you have to spit out mass murder karma. American army, pew 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 pew, killing all kinds of people for no reason. Killing for no reason. Mass murder. Just kill. Why? Whatever. You defy America? Okay. Boom. 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 That attitude got curses above the United States. And before those curses are purified, this wheel will not go into that positive. So the United States is fighting a bigger battle. Because, of course, there is some kind of a colonial mentality in the United States. The racist history, the civil wars, that has something to do with colonial mentality. But Netherlands never had a fleet that could destroy the entire world and abuse that power. America had. So the abuse of power of the Americans is going to make it extra difficult to end up in the timeline where the Argentines and the Dutch are. But, so you see a little bit, who started this thing first? Donald Trump. So, what happened? I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do this because now it's going to become savage. This is going to sound fanatical and see me care. Did you see those guys jumping on the Capitol? So, some kind of satanic wind came down and parasited the entire West. And the Americans, what did they do? They stormed that Capitol Hill. So the problem is, on paper, that is good. Look, what did the ancient French people do? They saw that corrupt king and they beheaded this king. It's pretty savage, isn't it? But the Americans were attempting to do that. Only the Americans made one mistake. America made a big mistake. So the French Revolution beheaded their king successfully. So this act, the Americans tried to subdue this Luciferian elite with the birthright, right? What the Americans didn't understand is the 7 deadly sins energy. Hypocrites will not win wars. So a hypocrite can point at its own punishment. That's what the Americans done on Capitol Hill. The Trump followers and Trump were not clean enough before God to be found worthy to get back into power. They were resisted by this clock. The Americans haven't yet fully learned their specific American lessons before their time starts while they leave the Satanic age. America is stuck in another web. Same thing counts for Germany. Let me say what's going on over there is called genocide karma. So Germany's clock to get where Argentina and Netherlands is now, to get these people at the end of the Satanic age. I don't know how exactly you're going to do that, but people are trying. The Germans are trying to look like the good guys. How difficult will that be for the German to look like the good guy? And I'm not hating on Germans. I'm not coming here to go like, look at the Germans. It's not about that now. It's not about that. It's about like, how do you repair the reputation of Germany? That's like, mission impossible. But you can try. Every nation can try. You got to hit that negative energy needs to leave your country. I'm just telling you what is standing in your way. So the Germans need to do the things to break the genocide karma curse over their nation. The Americans need to do the things to break the mass murder karma curse over their nation. The Dutch need to do the what? To break the colonial history curse over the nation. So when you break that curse over your nation, the political wheel will spin and the political parties will enter the thing, and those politicians that enter office will look like people who just spat out Satanism. Bah. You know what I mean? Like an exorcist. The exorcist come and go like, in the name of Jesus Christ, and all of a sudden everyone go like, puking and stuff. That's the type of people that will enter government. So don't expect much, but it's possible. So everyone is so afraid for that moment when this happens. It's called the judgment, political judgment of a nation. So when the energy of the quote-unquote underworld people runs out, the normal people are going to spit out the devil. They're going to enter into office, and the social credit systems will change, and all of a sudden it is no longer a satanic social credit system, but it's just a normal social credit system. Wrong is wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong. Stop manipulating. You don't want to stop manipulating? You get spanked. How does that sound? Getting spanked. People are not going to like that disciplinary tone, because people want to have hedonism. Hedonism. The truth? No. We need to feel good. That's hedonism. So in the new world, when this thing starts happening, the truth will be more important how it makes you feel. Part number 6 of the prophetic and military foresight ability demonstration about the future of Joe Biden, Olaf Scholz, and Emmanuel Macron, and the nations, America, Germany, and France. Long story short, some entity uses the political rights of Western nations to create. Not going to define it. You can define it for yourself. That energy is running out one after the other nation. And at one point, that energy runs out. It happened in Netherlands, it happened in Argentina, and what happens then is that the government will stop functioning and a new government will enter who is going to have a radical different approach to government. A new political elite. Old elite will go, new elite will come. And this new elite will be not so elite, because the old elite was their punishment. The hypocrisy, look all the devils, they enter government and they start smashing you. Something that you see in the Netflix series Warrior Nun. That's what we're dealing with. So there is a dark energy all over the West, becoming a dark empire, the underverse, the underworld. That's ending. If you join the underworld, your energies will run out, and the ordinary citizens are in the webs of the political elite. The ordinary citizen will see this and go like, yeah, because not designed for political language, not designed for spiritual language, not designed for religious language. Do you know what I mean? Ordinary people are designed to do ordinary things. They don't have a mind like a political mind, right? So only people with a political mind will understand political things. Government will cease to exist, however that will happen. When that happens, it's the beginning of the end, and then the opposition will win, a new political class will come, and a new social credit score system will be established. I'm not talking about a badge, I'm talking about the hive mind. That will change, will by all of a sudden a radical new world, and that is called the timeline of the judgment of God upon a nation. This is happening in Netherlands, this is happening in Argentina. And who is the next nation? You'll see. I'm using the ability, prophetic foresight, and military foresight to guide your mind to the streams of time of the future. So, let's continue building up upon the first 5 parts. This is part number 6. When this new political elite comes out of the woodworks, then the nation left the satanic age, but they barely left it. So you got America, who blesses Israel, and then you got Germany, who blesses Israel. They forbid the protests, they send the warships, right? So that's an act of pro-Israel. And the Netherlands don't do that. And France, even worse, cooperating with this Russian agenda, cooperating with this Iranian agenda. That's kind of radical, right? So you got gradations of nations with a karmic account, whereby the Americans have genocide karma. Oh no, I mean the Germans have genocide karma, but they're busy with it. They're giving Jews special rights. You cannot discriminate against Jews. If you deny the Holocaust, you'll go to jail. This happens in Germany. So the Germans have an account, and then there is a pro-Israel agenda, and that means there's still a little bit of positive. The moment you start becoming anti-Israel, God will curse you, says the Bible. Whoever blesses Israel will be blessed. Whoever curses Israel will be cursed. So the moment your political elite starts to curse Israel, then you're enemy of God. So the next algebra, spiritual algebra. So Emmanuel Macron, every time he curses Israel, his energy runs out faster than normal. How you all doing? Okay, so this is what I call, every time I go on TikTok, I call like military sage. This is what I mean. I'll show you again. So imagine a Dutch politician who sends a battleship to Palestine to give humanitarian aid. That's not necessarily an anti-Israel act in a hard sense, but you're favoring a certain party. So the Dutch political old elite favors the actions, not the word, the actions. It's a slight favoring of the Palestinians, but the French are big favoring of the Palestinians. So the moment you do pro-Palestine actions, you're possessed by this jinn. This jinn controls you. The jinn on the Temple Mount. That radical energy inside of you got a hate state. The moment you're like that's what it is. It's like you're becoming an enemy of the people of God. The Bible says, at the end of days, you will be drawn to the battle of Armageddon by God to be destroyed. It's that type of energy. You're under that type of energy, people. I don't know how to talk with you. Holy Lord, when you really understand it, what do you want me to do? I will keep speaking it. So, if you enter that energy of where God is going to draw you to the battle of Armageddon to fucking annihilate you, and Emmanuel Macron is under that energy. I don't think he understands the magnitude of the skill, but he's behaving like that. So the French destiny is becoming an anti-heaven destiny. Okay? That is the current course of actions. So when the French people repent, right, and when every time the French Macron curses Israel, a little bit of his energy runs out, more and more go faster. So this process of the nations in the West losing their birthright, the moment you become anti-Israel, the birthright process of losing your birth go faster. So the moment the American political house give in to the pro-Israel pro-Palestine protest and stop to help the Jews, boom, cursed. And then the opposition become easier for them because the battery goes down. So imagine there's a battery that Joe Biden has. There is a battery that Emmanuel Macron has. There's a battery that Olaf Scholz has. When you start cursing Israel, this battery will drain faster than normal. Right? So it's advisable. Look, I don't favor political parties or individuals, but I have to, in integrity, Holy Roman Imperial Standard, advise you to not curse Israel. You're already on the wrong side of history as Joe Biden, as Olaf Scholz. And then when you start cursing the Jews, the energy of joy will run out even faster as it already runs out. And then that point will come where the government will collapse faster. It is inevitable that these two individuals will collapse. I am talking about inevitable. That type of energy is coming out of my mouth. Okay? So the moment you start hating on the Jews, that inevitable will become fast inevitable. So, be my guest. Shh. Go prove me wrong. If you dare. What do you want me to say? I said in the first video, I am born for war. I'm threatening America and Germany. Go show the world you're going to do anti-Semitism and watch how the clock will tick faster. So there is power in the hands of Biden and there is power in the hands of Scholz. It's like going down slow or going down fast. That's the power they have. It's not much power, but it's power. This power Emmanuel Macron doesn't have. So it looks worse for France. So this is the equation of how to know when this government collapse will begin and then the opposition will enter. So this opposition, once it enters, starts this post-satanic age. And then you're going to be insulted, demonized, attacked, terrorized, attempt of murder. That's going to be part number 7 of this video. What's going to happen to the Le Pens and the Wilders and the Trumps and whoever is going to win in Germany? This is the last part of the video, military prophetic foresight on America, France and Germany, Scholz and Macron and Biden. So now this is it. This is the best I can do for you. This is the Dutch destiny. And I'm using my title as Grand Master of the Netherlands to instantly act to help the other nations. That is the purpose of a federation. This is the new tone of the Dutch Federation. So, more I cannot do for you. I can help you see the future, to help you navigate to the future, but this is your story. So, once you see what I say come to pass in all these nations, then the new political individual enter office and they will be insulted, demonized, attacked, terrorized, and attempt of murder. So I'm going to try to use the next 9 minutes to prepare you for that day in advance. If you become political and you enter office and you have the new political party and you're the new political movement, you leave the satanic age, you spit out the devil, but that doesn't make you positive of energy. There are negative energies, bad karma in your soul. So you might be destined to be head, like how Mr. Donald Trump is destined to be head, and how I just prophesied that Le Pen will become head, destined to become head. That doesn't mean you're karmically pure. You can still be hit by curses. So that's what's going to happen. So your private life, if you're a hypocrite, the energy of hypocrite, 7 deadly sins, the more arrogant you are, the more pride in your soul, negative energy. All these negative energy, 7 deadly sins, the more of that you have, karmic balance, personal karmic balance, counts for everyone in the opposition. That will when the underworld falls apart and disappears, whatever stays behind, you all have a negative energy. And the more of you that you have, the harder it will hit you. Insult is minor. Demonizing is already a little more negative. So that's the haters in society. You will rise to power, they are the haters. Ordinary people hate you all day long. That is, let's call it gradation 1. Insults. Gradation 2, demonizations. That's administration, administering of justice, hammer of justice, poof. That's your karma. Here, hey, hypocrite, poof. You're talking all head of state, here, come, poof, take this hammer of justice. That's going to be thrown upon you. The mirror of your karma. So once you leave the satanic age, you need to go to what is called the calm, Japanese, the calm, karmic balance, whereby you only fill holy Roman imperial standard, not just Roman standard or whatever standard you're maintaining. I'm talking about spreading your wings and flying above the karma type of energies. It's like being that, I don't want to use religious words, but being, let's call it, heavenly accepted, being shaped character, being in your destiny, let's call it that way. Entering your destiny. So just because you enter the office doesn't mean you enter your destiny. You can have curses. So the mirror of your curses is going to be demonstrated by the amount of people that will insult you and demonize you, and your karma is going to hurt. You're going to sit there, they're going to demonize me, I'll handle it. No, you won't, because these people that are going to demonize you are entering a karmic gate in your soul, and it will hurt. Every time the insult, every time the demonization, it will hit you. And those are the minors, not so big. If you got bad karma in your soul, that's just the low standard. Higher standard, that's being hit by a fucking umbrella on your head. Or with a beer bottle like that. And you all know who I'm talking about. That's the harder negative energies. That's when you are a big hypocrite. You deny the colonial history. Get over this. No responsibility for the history. Bam! Shut the fuck up, hypocrite. It's like that type of tone, that type of energy. That doesn't hit other people from the opposition. It only hits the bigger the bigger ones that live the bigger hypocrisy. So that's like the amateurs. You have heavyweight seniors in politics. They know, don't make these fucking beginner mistakes. And you have those wise in their own eyes, little yuppies. They start screaming democracy. They don't even know what that means. Get an attitude, and then BAM! That's just a hard fucking reality. This is not the age of the church, ladies and gentlemen. If I go to church, it's empty. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is not the age of grace of God. This is like the dark world. So don't act like we're living under God's grace. You guys not living under God's grace. So if you start becoming like that, you will be hit like that. That's the hard reality. What do you want me to sell you candy? No, that doesn't happen on this level. And if it happens on this level, you got an issue, you got a problem. Okay? So the attacks come from barbarians. So there are always barbarians in your country. So the demon that comes down to administrate this attack energy, condemnation. So there's a hatred energy, dark energy. If you have dark energy in your soul, it will mirror back at you through the population, through insults and demonizations, hatred energy. And then you have condemnation. You know, condemnation is what Jesus received. He do all the right thing and he's being executed for that. That's condemnation. Adam eat the apple, get cursed. The curse of death. So Jesus Christ do everything right, but you get death. Boom, condemn the human, right? So you got hate and you got condemnation. It's different gradations of negative energies. So when you overcome condemnation, in Asia they call it golden lotus. Golden lotus. It's in the Hollywood films, golden lotus, ladies and gentlemen. So when you overcome the spirit of condemnation, that is actual Christian teaching, then the spirit of hatred will hit you. So these are gradations of things you need to overcome. So the better you're doing, the less condemnation will hit you. Being punished for the right thing. Condemnation, being punished for doing the right thing. We're going to cancel you for the right thing. Condemnation. That's the barbarian energy, and the barbarians are easy to find. Even a kid can do it. So hatred energy is something else. You're being envied because you have that position. Are you more than me? Being envied, being opposed all the time. Hatred energy. So these are the normal energies in the West. This is the normal timeline. This is what you will be hit by. And then you have terrorist energy coming out of Russia and Iran. So This is the inside energies of the West, and then there's around the corner a terrorist energy that wants to assassinate, death energy. So when you become this big of a hypocrite as a political figure that enters politics after this Judgment of God cycle starts, and you start messing it up, well, that Russian soldier will come, or that Iranian terrorist. There's a whole clique, the Media Persian Empire over there, willing to kill anything that is not Muslim. Do you know what I mean? That can be released upon you. The Russian army can be released upon you. The terrorist energy. Look what's happening in Africa. It's like, kill the West, kill the dollar, kill this. It's like literally, it's heavy shit going on. So when you're a big hypocrite, you're not going to be smashed with an umbrella. No, a terrorist out of the Middle East will come to get you, like a fatwa, or a Russian special forces team will come to take care of you. Something like that. That's what we're talking about. So that's like when that's from outside, coming inside, can come at any time. There's a Russian agenda against the West. That's happening right now. That needs to be overcome. So when that timeline starts entering the West, there's another layer of bad karma that can be administrated to you. So you as political figure entering government, when that satanic age ends for your nation, you have every reason to do it right. Because if you do it wrong, around the corner the judgment of God can come at you. So do not become arrogant. Watch the 7 deadly sins energy. Get it out of you, because it can come for you really easy. And at the very outer layer is timeline China. That is the erase. So when God is done with you, He won't send terrorist energy at you. He will send China at you and erase you. That's the real thing. Erase you. So when God is done with you, He will use China and fucking erase you. Okay? That is the worst thing that can happen to you. So when God is done with you, imagine Argentina go really bad with the new government. They will start messing up really bad. The insults, the terrorists, the demonization, and there comes China and fuck this. End of game. That's like the end. That's like when you are done. When you abuse, when you enter government as opposition and this old age ends, your age will end this way. So just like how now the people who think they cannot be defeated are being defeated. So you will enter government when the satanic age ends, and China will just wipe you out. That's the risk. In a 7-part video, I made a military and prophetic foresight ability display about the destiny of the United States, Germany, and France. I showed a certain timeline, and I can look deeper into the future. So this is an additional video for those who watch the 7 parts. This is not part 8. This is an additional layer of watching into the future. So there come a point that the birthright runs out of the local crazy people who call the normal people crazy. This manipulation, there is so much manipulation going on in the West right now. It's of another level. It is pure satanic manipulation. It's in direct contact type of satanic manipulation. That's how the manipulation is so strong. It is empowered with the birthright. So the bigger your birthright, the harder it is to cut you off because of the generational blessing. So all these Westerners, because of the age of grace of the church, it's hard to cut off your own kids. That's what God is going to do in the West. Cut off His own disobedient kids. It's kind of heavy. That's called the judgment of God upon the West. So people who are in a godly line, it's just the way it is. So it's going to come a split between the local is going to disappear, and there's going to come a new political elite in the United States, the Trump movement, in France, the Le Pen movement, and most probably in Germany, there's AfD movement. And I'm looking at this because that's what everyone is afraid for. There's going to come a point where the satanic age ends, and then in the power will come a new political elite, and they will look like people who just spat out the devil. They will look like crappy people, and they still have birthright. So it's like a quicksand. Here in the West, quicksand. Everyone is going to the quicksand, and everyone who touched the Loco, everyone that is in the manipulation, the Lulu manipulation, going to fall through the quicksand, one country after the other. What people call radical left, they're going to fall through the quicksand, and whatever is going to stay behind, that's the new political elite, and those people are living in the graceless age. So a timeline is going to start where everyone is going to live in fear. Okay, so now Trump is back. And now AfD rose to power. And now we have Le Pen in France. Oh boy, the quote-unquote National Socialist. The National Socialists won. Some people are going to do it right. They're going to purify the 7 deadly sins energy. They're not going to do what everyone is afraid for that they're going to do. And some people are going to do what everyone is afraid for doing. And those that are going to do it, everyone is afraid for them doing, they are under this persuasion that they're under the grace of God. No, that is not so. So there's going to come a new manipulation. So I'm trying to use the time to explain you the manipulation. So when the political wheel of the nation hits that end of satanic age, just like here in the Netherlands, when Wilders rose to power, got the votes, just like in Argentine, when the radical left was defeated. So at one point, America, Germany, and France will have the same point in time. Then the new elite will rise to power, and some of them are going to do the right thing, and some of them are going to do the wrong thing. I'm going to try to show you now into the future what the wrong thing, what they're going to do. The wrong guys, what they're going to do. They're going to do a manipulation, and I'm going to show you what kind of manipulation it is. They're going to join the barbarians and terrorists, and they're going to join China. So I'm not saying that joining China is necessarily a bad thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about using China to pressure you into obedience to my will or else. That type of manipulation. Using China as a tool to impress someone else. So imagine there is a American movement of Trump, and Trump gets into power, and there is a political elite, and these people who are going to win the elections they're going to get the good side in integrity. They're not going to be the bad guys everyone thinks they're going to be. They're going to be the good guys, and they're going to do the 7 deadly sin purifications, and they're going to be the good guys. And then you're going to have the bad guys who just use the Bible as a tool to get control and power and whatever. People will use wise in their own eyes, manipulative guys who are not zombies, but they're corrupt hypocrites, and they don't want to change because they're under this persuasion. No matter what they do, God loves them anyway. No matter if I choose being right or wrong, the hypocrites that are going to stay hypocrites. You're going to have those rotten apples among these American Trump followers, these French Le Pen followers, and German AfD followers. You have the rotten apples. So when the rotten apples in the new political wind do not get what they want, what are they going to do? The Russians or the Iranians, the terrorists, or the Chinese. So the good ones are going to make a political course, and the bad ones are going to try to get all the enemies of the good ones. So the good ones are going to get enemies. I don't know who it is. But in part number 7 of the last video, I explained condemnation is going to come, hatred is going to come, enemy attacks are going to come, assassinate, right? So it's going to be dangerous times sometimes, and these so-called bad guys are going to use those dangerous times to get in a certain enemy to scare the good guys into obedience to what they want. That's the type of thing that will happen in the season where the West is going to slowly get out of the satanic age. Those that still have birthright are going to abuse that birthright and then try to put their will over the other ones that are doing it right. Demonize, you think you're better than us? Well, I'll show you something. So the Chinese are against you? Okay, let's make a fucking deal. This is the best thing to do for America or for Germany or whatever. That type of manipulation is going to come in that time. And those people who participate in that manipulation, I assure you this, they will be brought to death. They will be brought to death. Those people in that time who start trying to destroy the good guys with the enemies of the good guys, to exploit the weaknesses of the good guys, the coming next season. The political wheel will spin again, where the time comes that those who betray the good guys are going to die brutal deaths through terrorism, through Russian soldiers, through Chinese soldiers. It's going to backfire really bad.